Hello friends, my name is Michelle Fondin and I'm the author of Help! I Think My Loved One is an Alcoholic, a survival guide for lovers, family, and friends. And welcome to my video forum on alcoholism and addiction. Today we're going to talk about how to handle your alcoholic spouse. I've got a secret for you. In all seriousness, this topic came to me because of a beautiful reviewer who reviewed my book, Help! I Think My Loved One is an Alcoholic. And this reviewer had the commentary that they had hoped that the book would resolve for them how to handle their alcoholic spouse. So first of all, I want to say, if you're the one that left the review, thank you so much. All reviews are appreciated. Thank you so much. But that comment actually helped me dive into a much deeper question. As we all know, whenever we read a book or have a video that we watch, we have something in our heart that needs to be healed, and we're always looking for a specific answer, right? So if you have a question in mind about anything, it could be about like how to get rid of athlete's foot, and then you go do an internet search and you're just hoping to find the solution to your athlete's foot, right? But when we have something in our hearts that we really want healed, we want answers and we want them now. So one of the reasons why I wrote this book was because I was in a relationship with someone who was an alcoholic, and that was the first time I'd ever had an alcoholic relationship, a direct one, in my entire life. And I really wanted to understand the nature of alcoholism, and I wanted to understand how to help him, and I wanted to understand how he could heal, and I wanted to understand everything about it. I wanted to understand the behaviors that I could use in me to get him to change. And really, that was the reason why I started doing research for this book, was because I wanted to know. I'm like, what can I do to get him to change? Because I really love this person and I care for this person. And I wanted to know, what could I do to get him to change? And I discovered some real secrets in this process. I discovered a lot of secrets in this reality. And in my book, I really outline a lot of those secrets. But here's the thing. If you're looking for something very, very specific, and you're looking through a book, a website, and you're looking for something really, really super specific. So let's go back to the example of athlete's foot. So if you're looking through the internet searching for a cure for athlete's foot, but you only want to do it by taking a pill, and all the other sites out there really say, well, no, in order to get rid of this athlete's foot for good, you need to use this antifungal cream for like a week, and you're just looking for this pill, you might not find what you're looking for, because they might say, oh, pills by prescription only, it's super dangerous, it's only in severe cases of athlete's foot, and you have a mild case of athlete's foot. So if you keep looking for this one fix and all the information out there is telling you about another fix, then you're going to miss it, right? You're going to miss that information. You're going to miss the information that's being handed to you because you're looking for something super specific. Does that make sense to you? So for me too, when I was looking for the cure and how to handle my alcoholic loved one, I was looking for some specific answers, and I really wanted to know, how can I get this person to get into recovery? And the secret that I learned, that I also outline in this book, is that there is no specific thing that you can do in order to get that person that you love, who is an alcoholic or an addict, into recovery. There's really nothing that you specifically can do. Like, there's not like, if you do things 1 through 5, then the person is guaranteed to get into recovery. That doesn't happen. It's not how it's going to happen. And That's pretty much never happened. So just rest assured that if you're looking for that, you're really not going to find it. So to that end, in my book, I actually interviewed between 8 and 10, and I say between 8 and 10 because I didn't include all of their stories into this book because some of the stories were short. Some of the stories just didn't fit what I was trying to do with the book, and I wanted there to be some sort of common thread among the stories, meaning like I had specific topics such as lies and deception. So if the person telling me the stories didn't have anything to do with lies or deception or couldn't remember stories, then of course I wasn't going to include their story in the book. So I actually interviewed 8 to 10 alcoholics in recovery that had been in recovery for more than 2 years. And I asked them the really tough questions. And I asked them the questions of, what can a loved one do in order to help to get their loved one who's drinking into recovery. And every single one of them said, like, nothing. There's nothing you can do. And the one thing they did say, though, is stop enabling. And so I do talk about that in the book. The first step is for you to stop enabling. I did a whole video on enabling, and in the book, there's like an entire few pages on enabling and what it is. And that's the type of behavior that you exhibit toward the alcoholic loved one. And that's the type of behavior that needs to stop. Now, if you stop all enabling behavior, does that guarantee them a spot in their rehab center? No. But it's a step in the right direction. So the second thing you can do is to run your own race. Now, I did produce a video and post it on YouTube on running your own race, kind of living your own life and allowing your alcoholic loved one to live his or her own life. And that was a lesson that took me so long to implement. It took me so long to understand it fully. Now, there's one thing about understanding it on an intellectual level, like you can understand things intellectually, but understanding things on a more emotional level and spiritual level, like that was much, much, much harder for me to grasp. And here's why. It's because when you really love someone, you really care about someone, and I am supposing that if you're watching this video that you really love and care about your alcoholic loved one, even though you may not like them very much now, there may have been behaviors that they've done with you or to you that you don't appreciate and you don't love, and you don't love their behavior, and you don't love the words that come out of their mouth, and you don't love it when they drink, and you don't love it when they take drugs, and when they lie and deceive and all of that jazz. But the person themselves, I'm supposing that if you're watching this, you do love them. And for me, it was super hard to understand and to reconcile in my own head is that I really love this person. And if I can just give all the love to them, all the affection, all the joy, all the love, all the happiness, all the everything, if I could just pour that into this person, then they'll stop drinking. And that didn't happen. And so I had to take a step back and realize that there is absolutely nothing I can do directly. We're talking about direct. There's nothing that I can do in a list form that can help them get better. Now this, if you have an alcoholic spouse, I'm going to say this to you, and I'm sorry to have to say this to you, but there is nothing you can directly do to get that person help, or there is nothing you can directly do to get that person to want to get help. If they want to keep drinking, they will find a way to keep drinking. And if they want to keep drugging, they will find a way to keep drugging. They are extremely resourceful at this. Remember, they've been probably hiding this for years, and they've been doing it for years. So they have the extreme resourcefulness in order to keep the show going. They really do. They could have zero money and they can still keep the show going. And what's funny is that the resourcefulness that an alcoholic or an addict has, if they were to channel that resourcefulness into something else, can you imagine like how amazing they would be? Like they could be incredibly wealthy. They could be incredibly successful at a career or successful in relationships with all the resourcefulness that they have to keep the show going with the drinking and drugging. But they're extremely resourceful. So you can always pray for them, pray for your alcoholic loved one. And that's something that I do each and every day. I pray for my alcoholic loved one. And I said, please God, give them the grace to get into recovery. Give them the grace to break the chains of this addiction. And I say that every single day. You can put that person on prayer circles. There are plenty of prayer websites that you can add that person on prayer websites. It's called distant intercessory prayer, and I believe prayer works. And so you can do that. You can stop enabling, you can do prayers for that person, and you can run your own race. So running your own race is you're sending that person love, even if you live with them and they're being a nasty as crazy crap to you. You send that person love, you ignore the behavior, and you run your own race. So you get yourself some help, get into counseling if you need it, get into Al-Anon if you need it, get into AA if you need it. You know, I'm not going to assume that if you're watching this that you're sober too. You might need to be in a program if you're matching the drinking, for example, because you're in so much pain that you're thinking by joining what I call joining the drinking party, that that's going to help the other person get better. So getting yourself some help, that's one way. But then just setting some life goals for yourself. Get healthy, you know, start on an exercise regimen, a diet plan. Get yourself healthy and start running your own race, because I know this from firsthand experience, is that if you're so wrapped up in trying to get your spouse to change or get your loved one to change, that you have certainly forgotten about yourself. You've certainly ignored some aspects in your life, whether it be your health, maybe you gained some weight, maybe you're eating junk food, maybe you haven't been eating, or that your kids need attention, or that your finances need attention, or your career needs attention. Believe me, I know this firsthand. I ignored many aspects of my life because I was so absorbed with my alcoholic loved one in trying to get him to get help. And none of it worked. And even though people told me that none of it worked, I didn't believe them. And I was looking for that plan. I was looking over here when everyone was telling me the solution is over here. So do you understand? I was looking for the solution this way. I was saying, but there has to be something. There has to be a formula. There has to be a plan. There has to be steps that I can take to get him to want to get in recovery. And that's not the case. It's just not. It's not the case. That person could be crazy, madly in love with you. They could say they're crazy, madly in love with you, but the addiction is stronger. They could say that they want to get help, but unless they're getting help, they don't mean it. Right? So like if you really want a piece of chocolate cake and you are dying for the chocolate cake and you just want that piece of chocolate cake, and that's all you can think about is that piece of chocolate cake, well, what do? You either ask somebody to bring you chocolate cake, or you get into your vehicle or your bicycle, or you get on foot and you go to a store that sells chocolate cake, and you get the chocolate cake and you bring it to your place, or you eat it there or eat it in the car or whatever, and you get the chocolate cake, right? It's not by talking about the chocolate cake that you really, 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 really want that you're gonna get that chocolate cake, right? It's by going out there and doing chocolate cake and eating chocolate cake. So it's the same thing for your alcoholic loved one. I don't care how charming they are. I don't care how convincing they are. If they're not doing it, then they don't mean it. That's it, bottom line. So that's my secret. My secret is that there is no formula for getting your alcoholic spouse or loved one into recovery and to stop drinking. There's no secret formula to living with an alcoholic. What you need to do is go through those steps. Stop enabling, say your prayers, and have your spiritual practice, and then run your own race. That's the only thing you can do. You can't do anything else. It's your own race. And if living with an alcoholic is too uncomfortable for you, then you need to change. You need to move out, or you need to ask that person to leave. Those are the only things you can do. You can never compel someone into making changes that they don't want to make. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but my own self-growth, my own spiritual growth, my own emotional growth has been because I understood this principle. And again, it took me a long time to understand this principle. It took me a good 4.5 years to understand that principle. But I totally get it now, and I totally understand. And it has made me grow as a person, and it's made me be able to run my own race without guilt, without shame, without blame. and it's helped me to grow as a person. And so I hope that this information, even if you don't believe it right now, I hope that this information can help you to grow as a person as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Share this video with friends, family, and your dog. Thank you for pledging your support on Patreon. I couldn't make these videos possible without your pledge of support. www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, and I will see you in the next video.